Hello. Hello.
Hi,
Hi, everyone. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, good. So, um, okay. How was the homework?
Uh, I was kind of able to do it, but I did encounter some problems that I would like to ask about.
Okay, sure. Yeah, sure. That's good. So, Luana, let me explain this. So, the point here, every homework, um, it is not to fight to reach the final result because we are not in the exam yet. Definitely, before the exam, you have to be able to solve an exercise towards the end. Every line of code that you write counts. That's one thing. Second thing is the more time you spend thinking and trying, that is a skill that you build, and it needs time. So
Okay.
yeah, so don't worry about if you don't really find the final solution. That's totally fine. Okay, so even in the exam, they don't really. I mean, they count every line you write towards the answer. Okay, so the final result definitely will get the full marks, but other than that, you will get marks. So can you share with me?
Okay, I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
This is what I tried to do.
Okay, let me try to make it a bit bigger. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, enter a character, then you save it to a letter. If type letter is string, print not a character. Else, if it is a, then print a letter. Mm-hmm. Okay. And okay, that is not a bad effort, but
Okay.
may I know what the exercise was about actually? What is your understanding about the exercise?
This exercise is basically okay, you enter a character, and if it's a vowel, it will print it's trying to define if a letter is a consonant or a vowel, or if it's not even a letter.
Okay, but if you see that we was actually focusing, so again, let me read. Ask the user for a character, okay, and then determine if the character entered is a vowel. So our focus is to detect if the character is a vowel or not. If so, print out the vowel character, which you did, okay, partially. Otherwise, print this character is something different. Okay, so he stated enough. He stated enough. He stated what you need to actually write otherwise. Um, okay, so what you wrote here in uh, what you wrote here is amazing. Okay, but this I would say that um, um, in the exercise it mentions something slightly different. So
Okay.
um, but and okay, you said else. Hmm, let me think. Let me think. Let me think. But why is that needed here? So you checking the type if it is a string or not, right?
Yes.
But
Okay.
but
So in case, for example, if a user enters a number,
mhm. If a user enter, mhm. Okay, can you run it? Because typically, if your user enter a number, mhm. Okay, put a number. Oh, and that's just an excellent thinking, actually. You are the first student that answered it in this way. Okay, can you? I mean, that is slightly different from the ideal answer, but it's okay. Definitely, The programming can be used in any way. So, okay, can you enter A? Can you run again and enter A?
Oh, so that's the same for A.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the problem is. That's what I wanted to ask.
Okay. So always it's printing not a character. Okay. So this means that this is blocking us all the way around. Mm-hmm. So, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay,
You tell me.
with the idea that somebody tries to answer a number, how do I do this but in the correct way?
So, okay, in this specific case, if you say, let me put it this way. So I think what the best way you can do it, actually not a bad thinking that you are checking type, but that is very rarely that it can be used. We use it as a seniors, yes, in bigger programs, but not in your level. So I would say that the perfect answer would be is that you check the letter that it is equal, for example, A. And then if yes, then you print either A or the letter or whatsoever. And then else, if you check the letter equal B or sorry, equal E, for example, here. So if it is equal E like that, then we will print E. But you already make a very smart way that actually can do something like that. So, I mean, you don't need to put them on separate lines, which is excellent. So we don't need to put print A in a separate line, print E in a separate line. You put them in a smart way here. So the best way to solve now is that to try to remove this portion.
Okay, I'll remove line.
Or comment it. Just comment it first, because we're still trying to find to modify your code. So just comment line number 2, line number 3.
A, try.
Use a hashtag.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to click, but it's not printing out the right thing. It's fine. When I try to use it, it prints out another
Okay.
symbol.
So what
So
about
I'll
if I write it to you and then you copy it? So I put it for you in the chat and then you copy it.
Okay, yes, I'll do that.
Okay, what about that?
Chat.
Or I put it for you with the WhatsApp.
The chat is fine.
Okay.
I'll just copy.
Control V. Okay, that's perfect. So if we did that, it means that we have to, yes, perfect. Can we try to run like that?
Okay.
Okay. Now put 1. Never mind. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, so of course it's not a perfect, I wouldn't say that it will cater for numbers. I wouldn't say that. But okay, what if you put A or E? Can you try to run and put A and or E or even I?
It does the right thing.
Okay, so if you put E, can you run with the E and see if it really prints E? Okay, so if it is not any of those, it will just print this, include, and this case will catch even numbers. So by this, you manage to reach a solution. Like I told you before, you are the first student that I have that answer it in this way. and this is quite short form of it. So the correct way, like I told you, I can even share with you. I think it's more easier and faster. But
Okay.
yeah, that's actually, I salute your effort. That's actually good.
Thank you.
You managed to do something slightly different. Yeah, yeah. Let me think then. Yeah. Let me share.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing.
And kindly remind me to actually, I need to share with you a few tips on how you are able to use Replit, so
Okay.
that you can keep every code that you write and you refer to back to it later. So this is actually, okay, let me see here. We are able to look here. So this is the simple standard answer that we expect other students to actually write it. So this is how we how we should do it. But you managed to, by using a smart way, you managed to actually get all this if statement just in one, and you used or, which is great, because at that stage the student should have no knowledge of and or even or. But in your case, you already know it, so you use it, which is great. Okay, so this is the ideal answer, and you managed to do it. Thanks a lot. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me then go to the next. I would say, of course, there is other exercises, but, and let me also discuss this with you. In the previous class, we talked about odd and even. So I think that I will also think that I better leave that as an exercise for you. You try to think about it. We tried in the last class to talk about printing one thing, which is we used print, and we used inside modulus. So we said that if we put num like that, and we used modulus 2, and then we said equal equal, and we put here 0, for example. So this will evaluate to true, to printing true when num is actually even. If this condition evaluate to false, it means that num is an odd number. Did you remember that? Or I need to remind you again with this?
Yes, I remember.
Okay, that's good. So in this case, I would like you to translate. So actually, I taught you here that this is a condition that we are able to use. But we should use this condition not in a print statement, just a print statement for us to understand. But we should use it with the if else. So the task here is to ask the user for a number. And if the user enter an odd number or even or an even number, we need to print out the result. So we need to say that these numbers that the user input is actually odd or even. So we need to use an if else statement that can print if the number is even or if the number is odd. So how you structure here the condition, that's totally up to you. Why we are using if and else only, no else if? Because it's only two possibilities. It's either even or odd. There is no other possibilities when you are using a modulus 2. So you should build the condition based on the knowledge that you gained from putting this statement here. This is the condition that you put here. Do you know what's the meaning of condition, right?
Yes, I do.
Sorry again?
Yes, I do. I do know.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So then this will be your homework. When we are having our classes, so we are having our classes on Thursday and Friday again, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, then let me move. So I will take you now to the iteration, and we check sample code. You run it. If you have a deep understanding of it, then we move to the next until we are able to dive deeper into arrays. So, okay, we have three types of loops. Count controlled loop. So this is a for loop. Did you hear about it before?
Yes, I did learn it when I was doing pseudocode.
Okay. And what about, did you hear about precondition loop?
I don't, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay, no problem. We will see that. So, and what about the post condition loop?
Also not sure.
Okay, so you will see the three of those very, very clear in pseudocode. But in Python, you will only see these two. There is no possibility to put a post condition loop in Python. Okay, so we will see each type of loop, and just be aware sometimes he will tell you use account controlled loop without telling that you need to use a for. So account control loop is an alternative way of saying use a for loop. So when we use a count control loop, when we know how many times we want to make our loop runs. So we know upfront that we want the loop to run 5 times. So definitely you should go for this kind of loop. When you use a loop that depends on a condition and we do not know upfront when this condition will happen, it can happen after one type of looping, or 2 times of looping, or even 100 times of looping. We don't know upfront. Okay, so for example, when a user enter -1, we need to exit the loop. So we have no idea when upfront, before we go inside the loop, when the user is going to enter -1. But in this kind of loop, we don't need to wait for a condition, or we don't need to check a condition like the user input, for example. We don't need to do that. We know upfront, we designed the for loop upfront that it will run for maybe 10 times or 20 times, and that's almost fixed. So, and here it is a loop that will run for at least one time, whether the condition is satisfied or not. It doesn't matter. Here, if the condition is not satisfied for at least one time, we will never run the loop. So, of course, that is only theoretical. But when we talk about programming, so definitely we need to look at a code. So if you see here, this is the count control loop. This is how it looks like. So did you ever see a for loop in Python before?
In Python, no, I've never.
Okay, so okay, it is slightly, it looks slightly similar to the pseudocode, but it have different ways of working. So we say for, and this is the fixed statement that belong to Python, in range, okay, also belong to Python. So we never change that in our loops. This is a variable name that we use. I think also it's similar to pseudocode. And here we decide the starting. Here we decide the end, when we want to end our loop. And here we decide something called step. Did you hear about that before in pseudocode? I believe maybe no, you didn't hear about
No.
step. So the
Step.
step, most probably you only hear it here in Python, not in pseudocode, but the start and the end, you see it in pseudocode. But there is a slight difference, because in pseudocode, we actually, most of the time, we start from one. I mean, most of the things that we see, either characters or even strings and even arrays, most of them, they start from 1. They start counting from 1. So, but in Python, it's slightly different. So I would say, I want you to write this. But so you will write this code, and before you write it first, let me explain, because after that you will have to share your screen, and then I will teach you a few tips so that every code that you write, you don't lose it. Because again, you are using the free version of Replit, and I want you to maximize that usage, and you don't have to pay for it. So if you create three different repos, then you will not be able to use the free tier anymore. So you have to pay. So I have to teach you how you can duplicate the files in the main, so that you are able even to use one repo in the whole class. I mean, in the whole syllabus. Okay. So,
Okay.
okay. In this case, in this specific case, this loop is telling that we are going to assign a value to the variable counter. The first value we're going to assign to the variable counter is 1 here. And then every time we run this loop, which means that running the loop means that we are executing the line under the loop, which is print in this case. So after we print this variable, we will go up and check, did we reach the end or not? If we did not reach the end, which is 10, so it means that the counter now, what value it have? If it's starting from 1, so the counter value is actually equal 1. So does it reach 10? Not yet. So we incremented by 1. Why I'm saying 1? Because I specified here 1. So the counter variable now inside the memory will actually store 2 inside it. So we go again. Okay, sorry.
So if the step were 3, so if the step were 2, for example, then it would be 1 plus 2 and the counter would be 3, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. You're correct. So, and every time you run, you increment the value by the step. You can put 3 here, you can put 10, whatsoever, it's up to you. Okay, and it have a very strong effect on the number of times that the loop will execute. So if you put here step 1, which is the default, so if you put step 1, you can even omit that totally. You don't need even to put it, because by default it is 1. But you put it, I will recommend that you put it if you maybe put a strange value like 2, 3, 4, then I would recommend that you put the step like that. If you just only want to put 1, so this is optional. You can omit it, and it will still increment your counter by 1, because this is the default. Okay? Is that okay? Clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So again, we will keep incrementing the counter until we reach 9. When we reach 9, and then we come to check, oh, is it 9? So we reach 9, and then we need to increment that by 1, so it becomes 10. Is it we reach 10? So yes, we reach 10, so we will eliminate the loop, or we will break the loop. So it means that we will not run this statement anymore once the counter have a value of 10. Where is 10? This is here. Okay, so I want you to write these 2 lines of code and then start sharing your screen with me.
Okay. I also wanted to ask if the while loop, is it an example of a precondition loop?
Yes, and that will take, yeah, definitely, it is. And we will learn how to make a while loop behave like a for loop. That is one of the things we're going to take. Okay.
Should I start sharing?
Yes. No, I mean, you write it first, so that, because if I stop sharing, then you will not be able to see the code anymore. Or else I can send it to your WhatsApp, but it's up to you. What you prefer.
I can write first. Should I write it in the same code?
Yes, write it below. Yes.
Okay. Okay, I've written it.
Okay, that's good. So you start sharing and
Okay.
okay. So I want you to come here first. Can you try to click on this?
Okay. Files.
Yes, that's good. So come here with a mouse and try to right click. Okay. So do you see duplicate file?
Yes.
Okay, duplicate the file. Give it the name vowels.
Give it the name vowels. Okay.
Yes. Okay, press enter. Okay, click on the file to see what is inside it. So do you see now what is inside?
Yes, it's the same.
Okay, so I would say delete this part because this does not belong to the exercise. Delete,
Okay.
yes, until here. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's done. So let's go back to main. And in main, we need to remove that because this does not belong here. So every time we run a different code, it is better if they are not related that we keep the code different and then we make a file, specific file for them. Okay. So you don't mix up things. Okay. First of all, I understand that you are trying to emulate what you learned in pseudocode. Am I right? So you're trying to initialize the variable.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, in Python, in pseudocode, we have declaration and initialization. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So in Python, we only have initialization. We don't have any declaration. But when you have a variable that is used inside the for loop, you do not need to even initialize it to anything. So you just comment that line number 1 or remove it. Yes, that's good. Are we able to run and see what is a possible output for that? Okay, so the possible output is that we just print from 1, starting from 1, and we keep incrementing until we reach 9 here. We never reach 10. So once we reach 10, we will break the loop and we will never print 10. Is that clear to you?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay, then you remove that, please. So you remove the step.
Okay, remove the step. Okay.
Run. It doesn't change anything. The output is still the same. It is still incrementing by 1 because that is the default. Is that clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay, what about if you change the start to become 0?
Then it's going to output 10.
You will see. So it will start printing from 0. It will never reach 10 because once it reaches 10, it will break the loop. And so it will reach 9 and it will print 9 for us. But once it increments the counter and add 1 to 9, and this has become 10, it matches here, so it will stop. Sorry, it matches here, this, and it will stop. So when you say starting at 0, it means that I will print 0 here. And the 0 is the default. If you want to run any loop, any for loop, starting from 0, you can omit that. So if you remove the 0, you will still have the same output. So every time you have a loop that it will start from 0, and this is most 90% of the cases, you will actually need to only start from 0. So most of the time, your loop should look like that. So why I did show you the steps, why I showed you the start and the end, so that you are not confused if you see other code that have start and end and maybe a step. So this is a step, this is the start, this is the end. And we are able to omit the start and the step, and we keep the end, which is a very important thing. So if I want to print here 10, I can remove this and make it 11. So can you try, please?
Okay.
Control Z. Control Z one more time. Control Z one more time. Okay, that's it. Yeah, run. So you see, when we write here 11, the maximum we output is 10. So it is always less by 1 from here. So far, is it clear?
Very clear.
Okay. Okay. Is it possible that we are able to change what the code here do? So am I able to say, can you write instead of counter, can you write your name in a double quotation, in between double quotation? And one more thing, please, can you come here?
Where? Sorry.
Down here, down.
Okay.
So press on it. I want you to off that. That will not make you actually learn. That will complete the code for you, and then it will make your brain not really working or thinking about how to solve problems. So now try to run, please. And tell me how many times we are printing your name.
10 or 11.
Last time we said from 0 until 10.
11.
11. So it means I have a choice. The counter will keep incrementing, but other than that, I'm able to put whatever code I like to run inside the for loop. I don't always have to involve the counter. I don't need to do that. I can, but if I don't, then it's okay. It's totally okay that I have to print something that keep incrementing like that, for example. So, or keep repeating the same thing. And the number of times is decided by this. So if I want to only print, are you able to tell me, if I want to print your name 2 times, what number should I put here?
Only 2 times.
Yes.
2.
Yeah, you can try. But you have to also know that it is totally fine to make it try and error, because that is the beauty of it. You're not able to do that with pseudocode. So can you run now and test if the code works? Okay, so you managed to get it correct, which is good, which is a good indication. Okay. One more thing I would like to tell you here, that we are able to modify that. And after we put a double quotation around your name, we can put a comma and we put counter. Comma.
The counter B, okay, it should be outside counter.
Okay, try to run. So do you see what
Also
is happening? So
okay, yeah.
yeah, so I'm able to I mean, okay, return back this to 11, and then you will see that there will be a count that is appearing beside your name. Control Z. Yeah. So you see, so if I want to make counter appear, then I'm able to use it. But okay, typically the end user does not make sense of when he sees something that like this, 0. The end user typically wants to see things that appears with 1. So we are able to make these changes by coming here and saying +1. So we don't change here. This is totally fine. I want you to put counter +1, so that we never make 0 appear. We hide it from the end user. So you will see that, okay, the user typically, a human typically count from 1. We don't count from 0 as a human. So when we want to print something for the end user, we don't tell him, oh, enter maybe number 0. I mean, there is nothing for you. People who count always from 1. So we would like that to appear as 1. So we hide, the code is used to hide certain things and make it clear at the end to the end user. So now, is that clear to you?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay.
Would the same thing have happened if I put 1, comma 10 over here, or comma 11?
Can you try? You try?
Okay. Let me erase this then. And supposed to be 12. Okay.
So it
So
is the
it's the
same. Yes,
same.
it is
Okay.
the same. And what about if you put 2? Can you put a step 2? Step 2.
Oh, step 2, okay.
So when you put step 2, the number of times that we run the loop become less. Do you know why?
Because we're counting in twos. The counter is
Okay.
jumping by.
So yeah, we are jumping, making I mean, we are reducing the number of steps. So once we reach 12 and we are incrementing by 2, so we will stop. So if you increase it to 3, you will see that also the number of times we print that get decremented. So is that clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay, that's good. So I would say, allow me to share again.
Okay.
So we explained that part. Yeah. So this is initially what we're going to take about the for loop. Definitely there will be exercises, but we will talk about the while loop, which you asked about. So this is what we call precondition. And we will understand why we are saying that this is a precondition. So, okay. A precondition means that whatever under the while loop. So do you understand what the mean indentation in Python?
I understand.
Understood. Good. Okay. So you see here that this is a condition. And if before we even run this code under the while loop, we will check that this condition is true. If it is false, we will not even run this code for even a single time. So this condition need to be always true, or else we will never run that code. Okay, that's why it's called the precondition. So you check the condition first, and if it doesn't match, we will never run, and we will jump from here to actually that line, and we will omit running this the while loop totally. Okay, so first have a look at this code and tell me what you understand from this code, what this code is actually trying to achieve.
It's reading. Is it trying to add all the marks in, for example, let's just say a table to find
Yes,
out the
yes, you are
total?
correct. So if we are in a class, so we want to total all the marks in the class, because sometimes they want to get averages. They want to know what is the average mark of maybe a 30 student. So if the initial step to do that is to add all the marks. So how is he going to do that? So they need every time, they need a loop that run for maybe 20, 30 times. We don't know upfront. And that will allow the user to input something. And we take that input, we save it in a variable. And then we add that mark to a total. And then we will take another input from the user and we will keep accumulating the marks inside total. And then at the end, after the while loop finish, we will print total. But what is the condition that they're giving here?
That the mark should not be equal to
Minus
-1.
1. Yes, because there is no mark -1. So typically, the lowest mark would be 0, but not -1. So we always mark how we want to end, especially if this is an input from the user, is to always use -1 as if we want to exit the loop. So he will say that here, if we receive here -1, it means that this loop will never even run one time. But if the user input 10 for the first time, and then we check here the condition, is it 10 not equal -1? Yeah, definitely true. It is not equal -1. So if it is true, then we will run this too. What we will do here is that we take this 10, we add it to 0. Why 0? Because the total here for the first time we run is equal 0. So that result in 0, and we store that 0 in total. So now total does not have 0 anymore. It will contain 10. So total here contains 10. And then we take another input from the user. Let's assume that the user put maybe 8 in mark. So we come again to the while loop to check. Is it 8 not equal -1? Yes, this is also true. So we will continue running. So we will add 8 now to the total, and the total now have 10. So it means that 8 plus 10 equal 18. So let me remove that here, and I put 18. And then after 18, we save 18 to total. So it means that I come here to total, I put 18 instead. And then I take another input from the user. I will assume that the user maybe give 6, and then I save this 6 inside mark. So I come here and I put 6. Is it 6? I come to check in the while loop, the condition. Is it 6 not equal 1? It not equal -1? Yes, this is true. So that still, it means that the user does not want to exit yet. So I would say that here, I will add the 6 to the total, which is at the moment here 18, and that will result in 24. And 24 will be saved inside total, and so on. Okay, first of all, do you need me to, should I go faster? So if I need to really explain how things work from inside the code, does this help you, or you prefer to move a bit faster?
I understand, but we can move a bit faster. I already understood it.
Okay, so if you don't mind, please try to write the code.
Okay. New document?
Yes,
New file.
preferably. Yes, preferably, so that you are able to retrieve that. When we write a lot of codes, then you will not be able to refer back to them. So better make it in a new file. Yeah. Any problem so far?
No, just finishing writing it. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so definitely the way that he use um, this while loop is worth remembering and studying. There is a trick here. Why he need to repeat that line 2 times? There is a strong reason. So again, taking code and don't really thinking about it deeply will make us not understand how things should be structured when we write code on our own. So
Can I,
first of, yeah, I'm listening.
can I try to explain why it
Yeah,
has to be inside
yes,
and
yes,
outside?
yes.
Okay, so when we first start, the total is outside of the while loop, and then we need to input a mark. So we need to check if the mark is not equal to -1, and then we add it to total.
Mhm.
Then we need to take the next mark, and it needs to be inside, because if it's outside, then the total will go back to being 0.
Excellent, excellent understanding. Yes, you are perfect. Okay, that's good. And what if I switch these 2 lines? So instead of totaling first, I take an input first. Would that work? And why?
No, won't
Okay,
work.
okay, why?
Because we already have the first input that we took outside of the loop.
Okay,
So it would add that one to the total.
okay, that's one. Yes, excellent. That's excellent. So you are smart. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, also, one of the first students that ever understood that from the start. Okay, that's great. The second thing I would say, there is a strong reason. You do not want to disturb your total with -1. So what I want to say that if you switch that code, what you said is true. But if you try to even switch them now, and then you take an input from the user, and let's assume that the user put -1. If you are adding this immediately after you take the mark, if the user put -1, you will always find that the total is lacking 1. So if you add the total numbers is 10 plus 8, which is two marks only. So we should have 18 if the code is working correctly. But if you switch these 2 lines, you will always see that the total being printed out from here is only 17. Because there is a strong reason for that. You know why? Or I need to explain it? Oops. Is it an internet problem?
Yes, it was an internet problem. I'm sorry.
No problem. It's okay. I understand it. Okay. So um, it happened even with my students in Germany. So it's okay, totally fine. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, what is the last thing that you hear from me?
You were saying that we can't. You're talking about the -1.
Yes, so I told you if I put two marks, mark 1 and mark 2. The mark 1 is 10, mark 2 is 8. If I add both, they should give me 18. But if I switch these two lines, I will have a total of 17. Because when you are checking here, so when you are checking this condition, you are making sure the mark is not -1, and then based on that you add the mark to the total. So if you switch, it means that you do not add before you check that the mark is not -1. So if I put here, if the user input -1, and then you start to write total here, total equal total plus mark, and we know that he put mark -1, so you will find that he's adding -1 to the total. So he's subtracting 1 from the total, and that is wrong. That is not good. So I want you now, do you know how to copy and paste? So do you know how to use Control plus C and Control plus V? Do you know how to do that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so just fast, I want you to switch these two lines and try to
Okay.
run, okay? And I want you to put 3 inputs before you, so maybe you put 10 plus 8 plus 6. So the first time he asks you for an input, put 10, the second time put 8, third time put 6, and then put -1.
Okay.
And tell me what is the output that's coming out.
It says there's a problem with the code.
Okay, I would say share, so I'm stopping the share. We do not need, okay, I will tell you. So also that is part of the learning process. So when he said to you, this was never closed. So if you count here, so what is the line? Line number 4. This is the error. So we go to line number 4, we check. So every bracket you open, you have to close it. So,
Okay.
and actually, there is no need to put a bracket before the int. As you can see here, we never put one. So before the int,
Oh,
remove it.
okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then you run. Okay, so you can enter number 10, press enter, and then put 8 and press enter, and 6 and -1. Press enter. Oh, so okay, -1 again. Ah, okay. You see here, you forgot to put -1. You put 1
Oh,
on.
okay. Sorry.
That's why it never finished. No problem. It's okay. Yeah. Now try to run again. So you stop because this loop will never stop because the condition is not correct. Okay. Now run again. Okay. You put 10,
And
8,
8,
6, -1. So do you see now what is being output? So apart from that, the first mark, which is 10, is not counted. So we only count 8 plus 6. And that should give me 14. But I also subtract 1 from the total, which is 14. So that's why it gives me 13. So the first mark that you put 10 here. Okay. But then after this condition, you never added that specific mark, which is 10, to the total.
Yes.
You take another input, which is 8. And then you add, the first time you add 8 to the total, but not 10. 10 is gone with the wind. Okay. Print statements is your friend. To understand any complex code, you need to actually do a lot of print statements. Okay. I can understand that you do not want to spend too much time, but and I also don't want to disappoint you. But I would say if I would like to really understand what's going on, I would put a print statement in between line 3 and line number 4, and I will try to print the mark. Not the mark, but the total here. And so I print the total here. Yep. And you have to indent it. It have to be indented because it's under the while. Okay. And so if you run, now put the same 10, 8, and 6. So we are having here our total still 0. So put 8. You see now where is the total? The total is being printed out. So the 10 was not counted in the total. Okay, now put your 6. So now you see 14. Now put minus 1. So now you see the 13. So this minus 1 is subtracted from the 14, and that's what I explained to you. But what if you are alone and you want to understand a code? That's how you try to understand it. Put print statement anywhere, it doesn't matter. But of course, when you develop the proper skill, you will be able to put the print statement in the correct place so that you see what is really happening inside the memory. Because again, this total is being incremented inside the memory and you cannot see it, right? So your eye is the print statement. Is it fine so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Fine.
So yeah, you stop sharing and then I continue, please. Okay, so we finished basically the while loop. Will definitely take exercises, but we need to understand the third type, which is the post condition loop. So the post condition, if we talk about it in pseudocode, that is repeat until, but we do not have repeat until in Python. So in Java, there is do while, which is similar to the post condition repeat until. Okay, but in Python we do not have. So in short, Python does not have post condition loops. Okay.
Okay.
I will give you those as an exercises. So because I also don't want to disappoint you of moving a bit faster. Would you, no, let me give you the choice. Would you like to take 1 or 2 of these exercises during the class, or I put them all for you as homework?
You can do them as homework, it's fine.
Okay, that's good. So, okay, yeah.
I can even do more than 2 as homework, it's fine.
Yeah, there will be more than 2. Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you have to solve all the tasks. Typically, I take 1 or 2 to solve it with my student to understand how is they are doing. But touch wood, you are in a higher level so far. I mean, Your thinking and your performance is much higher. So I would, it's okay to leave that. So there is a concept or algorithm that we say. So do you know what's the meaning of an algorithm first?
Do I know what the meaning of what is? Sorry.
Algorithm.
Yes.
Algorithm. Yeah, what is an algorithm?
An algorithm is kind of like, it's not really a code, but it's, okay, in this case, it could be a code used to solve a problem or something. Is that not it?
Yes, you are correct. So we use it to solve something. It can be a recipe. So an algorithm can be, yes, non-code. So it can be a recipe to cook something. It can be a steps that if you follow, you are able to assemble a piece of furniture. So that is all possible things of an algorithm. So an algorithm does not need to really be represented as a code. So if I want to total something or add and totaling in itself, it have an algorithm of totaling. So if I tell you that I want to total a few numbers together, so there is an algorithm that you should memorize by heart, okay? Because definitely, if you don't memorize the basic algorithm here, then any modification or any extra request he will say will make you start to struggle. So look at this for loop. What is it doing? Are you able to understand from this code what we are trying to achieve here?
I don't understand. That's plus and
Equal.
equals symbol.
So this is equivalent to writing total equal total plus counter.
Okay.
So this is a short form. So instead of he writing total 2 times like this, he said he omit this totally and he put the plus here.
Okay.
So what if we are not talking about total? So if we're talking about maybe x equal x plus 1. So the short form would say x plus equal 1. Is it clear now?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay, that's good. So tell me now, what is the code trying to do?
It's going to emit the number of, not the number, yes, the number of the range of the counter, yes. So at the end for this code, it will emit 10.
So, okay, and so it means that since total is starting from 0, so I'm going to add 0 plus 1 plus 2 until we reach 10. So why I'm saying 0 to 10 or even actually, sorry, I apologize. It's not 0 to 10. It's from 1 until 10 because here we are starting from 1. So we will add 1 plus 2 plus 3. So from where we get these numbers 1, 2 is from the counter. And the counter is being added to the total. Every time we run this loop for one time, then we are putting the content of counter, adding it to the total. So the first time we run, the counter will be equal 1. So we add 1 to the 0, and then it will result in 1. So the total now will have 1. We increment the counter by 1, so the counter become 2, and then we add that to the total. So we will find ourselves adding the content of total plus the counter, which is equal to now, so 3. And 3 is saved inside total. So here put 3, and so on. So you keep adding until you reach 10. So this is the totaling algorithm. So this is how we add numbers. And we know upfront this is a count controlled, which means that I know upfront how many times this loop will run. I'm not waiting for an input from the user to put -1. I'm not. So far, is that clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay, can you please write this code and see what is the total?
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, did you see how much is the total?
I still haven't ran the code. Let me try. Oh, it's 55.
Okay, so uh, of course you always have to run the code because that is the big difference between pseudocode and Python. Um,
Yes.
i- Python will deepen your understanding of pseudocode because pseudocode you never run a code, and whenever you do a change, you can never see or feel the effect of changing. Okay, so if I want to actually add numbers, for example, starting from 2 and ending up maybe at 5. So are we able to change here? Start at 2 and end at 5. So it means that I add 2 plus 3 plus 4. So that should give me 9. So change the start and the end and tell me if you get 9 at the end.
You change to 2 and 5.
2 and 5, yes. And then run.
9, yes.
So, okay. I mean, if you understand, then totally okay, good. We move to the next. Should we?
Oh, yes, I understood.
Okay. So counting is it is uh,
So, sorry, I just wanted to mention that I think our 1 hour is up. I don't know if
okay.
that's...
So would you like to have 1 hour every time we
Yes, 1 hour.
1 hour? Okay, that's good.
Yes.
So yeah, okay, that's good. We stop here.
Okay.
Okay, then see you next class.
I see you. Bye.
Bye.